Picture this. You just got paid on Friday. Your account hits $1,400 and for exactly one glorious hour, you feel okay. Then rent auto pays. Gone. Then your car insurance hits. Gone. Then you remember you owe your sister $200 from last month. And just like that, you are staring at $180 that has to last you 2 full weeks. So you skip the dentist appointment you scheduled because that $150 copay feels impossible right now. 6 months later, that ignored cavity becomes a root canal. Suddenly you owe $1,800 that you absolutely do not have, so you put it on a credit card at 24% interest, and now you are paying $43 every single month just in interest on a problem that would have cost $150 to fix back in April. That is not bad luck. That is not poor decision making. That is a mathematical trap built directly into the architecture of being broke in America, and almost nobody is talking about it honestly. My name is Liana, and this channel, Liana Invests, exists for one reason only: to pull back the curtain on the hidden financial mechanics that keep hardworking Americans running faster every single year while somehow falling further behind. If you have ever felt like you are doing everything right but your bank account tells a completely different story, you are in exactly the right place. Hit that subscribe button right now because what we are about to break down today might be the most important financial conversation you have never had, and if this video genuinely opens your eyes, please hit that like button because it helps this message reach the people who need it most. Today we are not talking about crypto or index funds or passive income side hustles. We are talking about something far more fundamental. We are talking about why being broke is statistically, mathematically, and provably the most expensive financial position you can occupy in America today. There is a concept called the Boots theory of socioeconomic unfairness, and it explains the wealth gap more clearly than any economics textbook ever written. The theory is simple. A wealthy person buys a quality pair of boots for $50. Those boots last a decade. A person living paycheck to paycheck cannot spare $50, so they spend $10 on a cheap pair that falls apart within months. They repeat that purchase every single year. Over 10 years, they have spent $100 on boots and still have cold wet feet, while the wealthy person spent half that amount and stayed completely comfortable. The poor person paid double for an inferior outcome, and this pattern does not just apply to boots. It applies to virtually every financial decision Americans make every single day, and once you see it, you cannot unsee it. Let us start somewhere embarrassingly basic because the most powerful examples are always the ones hiding in plain sight. Toilet paper. If you have $50 available, you drive to Costco, buy the bulk pack, and your cost per roll drops to almost nothing. You are covered for months. But if you are living tight and you have $4, you buy the small pack at the corner store where the cost per roll is 3 times higher. Same product. Same result. Completely different price based entirely on how much money you had access to upfront. Economists call this the poverty premium, and it applies to laundry detergent, cooking oil, diapers, cleaning supplies, medications, and nearly every consumable product in your home. When you are broke, your personal inflation rate is structurally higher than a wealthy person's inflation rate because you are permanently locked out of bulk pricing and economies of scale. The system charges you more for having less, and it does this completely legally, openly, and without apology. Now let us talk about banking because this is where I genuinely get frustrated on behalf of every working American. If you maintain a healthy balance, your bank rewards you with 0 fees, free services, and occasionally even interest on your deposits. But the moment you are struggling, the moment your balance dips low and a forgotten subscription charge hits your account and overdrafts you by $8, the bank charges you $35. Let us do that math together. You borrowed $8 involuntarily for less than 24 hours and it cost you $35. That is an annual percentage rate of over 15,000%. If any individual lender charged that rate, they would face criminal prosecution. When a federally insured bank does it, it is simply called account policy. American banks collect tens of billions of dollars annually in overdraft fees, and studies consistently show that over 70% of those fees come from account holders with less than $1,000 in savings. The banks are not just passively profiting from your struggle. Your financial vulnerability is a deliberate and budgeted revenue line item for them. Wealthy customers receive interest on their deposits. Struggling customers pay interest on their existence. This is a wealth transfer from the bottom up, dressed in the language of banking services. And before anyone says just do not spend money you do not have, I need to address the psychology here because it matters enormously. Research from Princeton and Harvard shows that financial scarcity does not just feel stressful, it measurably reduces cognitive function. When you are genuinely worried about covering rent, when you are calculating whether you can afford groceries before your next paycheck, your brain enters a bandwidth crisis. Studies show functional cognitive capacity drops by roughly 13 points under conditions of financial stress, equivalent to the cognitive impact of pulling an all-nighter. This is why people in financial crisis sometimes make decisions that look irrational from the outside. The payday loan at 400% interest, the lottery ticket, the fast food instead of cooking. These are not signs of stupidity or weakness. They are symptoms of a brain stretched beyond capacity, just trying to survive the immediate crisis with nothing left over for long-term strategy. The boots theory is not just about dollars. It is about cognitive real estate. The person with financial security does not just save money on quality purchases. They save the mental energy that would otherwise be consumed by constant low-level financial panic, and they redirect that energy toward building, investing, and growing. Now apply this to cars, because in America outside of maybe 4 major cities, your car is not a luxury. It is your lifeline to employment. A financially stable person buys a 3-year-old reliable Honda or Toyota, finances it at 5% interest, maintains it properly, and drives it for a decade at a low total cost of ownership. A person with damaged credit and no savings walks onto a buy here pay here lot out of desperation. The dealer sells them a vehicle worth $4,000 for $9,000, finances it at 22% interest, and by the time the loan is repaid, that person has paid $16,000 for a car that was worth less than a quarter of that. And statistically, that car will need major repairs before the loan is even paid off, creating a second financial crisis layered directly on top of the first. This is the poverty premium at industrial scale. You are not just paying for transportation. You are paying a financial risk surcharge, and the only escape from that surcharge is having money, which you cannot accumulate because the surcharge is consuming it. Housing operates on exactly the same dynamic. Renters in America pay 100% of the cost of occupying a space and receive zero equity in return. They are financing their landlord's mortgage and profit margin simultaneously. But to transition into ownership and begin building equity, you need a down payment that might represent 12 to 18 months of total savings at a median American income. If half your take-home pay is already going to rent because rental markets in most American cities are catastrophically overpriced, that savings timeline stretches to a decade or longer. Meanwhile, the homeowner pays less per month, builds equity, benefits from appreciation, and receives tax advantages. The renter pays more to build nothing. It is not just your shelter you are renting when you are broke. You are renting your money through credit card interest. You are renting your stability through month-to-month lease agreements. You are renting your entire financial existence, and the landlord of that existence is collecting a premium on every single transaction. There is also a hidden time tax embedded in financial scarcity that almost never gets discussed. A household with in-unit laundry spends 5 minutes of active time on laundry. A household without one spends 2 hours traveling to a laundromat, waiting, and returning, plus the higher per load cost. That 2 hours stolen from every laundry day across a year represents dozens of hours that cannot be spent on overtime, skill building, rest, or family. Food deserts in low-income American neighborhoods mean that accessing affordable, healthy groceries often requires an hour of public transit each direction, adding transit costs and 2 hours of time to every grocery run. Poverty does not just cost money. It costs time, and lost time compounds into lost future earning potential in ways that never appear on any balance sheet but are absolutely real. So what is the actual path forward? Because I refuse to leave you with only a diagnosis. The single most powerful financial move available to someone inside the poverty premium trap is not investing in the market. It is building a buffer. That first $1,000 in savings is not a boring emergency fund. It is the weapon that begins dismantling the premium. With $1,000 available, a flat tire is an inconvenience rather than a crisis requiring a payday loan. That buffer allows you to raise your insurance deductible, which immediately lowers your monthly premium. Having savings reduces your monthly expenses. Read that again. You have to audit your life specifically for poverty premium costs, identify the single largest financial leak, and eliminate everything non-essential until you have plugged it. Sell unused items, pick up weekend gig work, cut subscriptions with zero guilt, and treat that buffer building as a strategic military operation, because that is exactly what it is. This is your war against the math, and your ammunition is liquidity. I will not pretend the playing field is even because it genuinely is not. But understanding that being broke is a mathematical penalty rather than a personal moral failure is the beginning of fighting back with strategy instead of shame. Subscribe to Liana Invests right now because we break down exactly these kinds of hidden financial truths every single day. And if this video gave you a new way of seeing your financial life, please like it so we can keep this conversation going. You deserve the boots that last. Let us go get them together.